All right, we are here to talk about the Primal of Blood and Bone. The long awaited, supposed to be end of the series, but plot twist, we've got another one coming. Uh, it was amazing, hurtful. Uh, I feel hurt. But did anyone expect anything else from JLA when we knew this book was coming? I know it'll have a good ending, but darn, are we gonna hurt so much along the way? So, if you haven't realized yet, I'm assuming, if you're watching, spoilers. There are going to be a lot of spoilers. I'm going to talk about all the things that happened. So please, or at least all the things that stressed me out the most. So please go read this book. Come back. Talk to me later. Yes, read it. Read the entire Blood and Ash series. I highly recommend it. Be in pain with the rest of us. And, all right, let's get started. So, first, can we just say that I didn't think Colas would be or just wreck Poppy the way it has, and Satoria too, her learning about all of this, her meeting Sarah. I just felt like thing after thing after thing after thing happened in this book. Cass mad at Kieran. A little bit of foreshadowing. I think if we go back to when Poppy asked Kieran to do that, I think we would have seen this coming. However, I wasn't exactly prepared for Cass to be as whiny as he was. And I feel like if I went back and I reread this story, I would feel a lot like I did when, spoilers, if you've not read Akatar, plug your ears for a minute. I felt like I would have been played the way Sarah J. Maas played us with Tamlin. She ripped the rug, the red flags were flying, and they went over all of our heads. That is how I felt towards the end of this book. I thought he was whiny. I thought, he wasn't acting normal, but that they were going to get over it, and then they were going to be all three happy and, I don't know, in love with each other again. Who knows what that plot line's gonna be. But can we just say that scene with the bathtub and the whole, I don't expect anything, that was a little awkward. Now, it hurt. His asshole phase, or asshole era, I don't know. I didn't really like it. The lay waste, I don't believe it's Cass. I have fallen in love with this book boyfriend for years, and I do not accept an Onyx Storm ending. I don't. I'm pretending the last chapter didn't happen, or at least the last couple pages. It was one of those, it was the exact same way that I felt at the end of Onyx Storm, where I read the last page like over and over again and was like, I cannot. Maybe if this book was released before Onyx Storm, I would have felt a little bit better about the ending. I'm sure she had it planned before that, but it's the same group. Change up. I don't know. The cliffhanger just didn't feel right for me. Now, granted, I don't know why I didn't expect anything less from JLA, because I have read every single one of her books, including just the regular romance. And let me just tell you, she knows how to make you hurt. She gets you where it hurts. And Cass was the one that made us, hurt. But it makes sense in terms of the essence of the primal of death versus Kieran. Almost more peaceful than he was before. I think he had a more peaceful essence with the primal of life. So I think in the joining, she basically gave Kieran the primal of life and Cass the primal of death powers. And Nikito struggled with these as well. Obviously not as bad as Cass, but can you imagine being like, I don't want to say like a lesser being, but essentially someone that's not built to hold that much essence, and how that can turn them and how that worked out for them in terms of the joining. I was caught off guard. I was not expecting it. I was very hurt. Let's put it that way. I think I called every single one of the book girlies that I know and was like, can you please tell me when you finish this book so that I can rage with you? Because can we just rage about this? So, some of the other things that we, everyone's been talking about in the channels. First, was Leopold Iris? Do we know if Leopold was Iris? Because that makes sense. He was probably weakened, potentially, in trying to get her out of there. What if Jadis was the handmaiden that was Poppy's mom? I mean, I love these theories. I think we'll be surprised to find out if they actually are true, but it makes sense. Maybe Leopold and Jadis were making an escape. Who knows? And Reaver, heartmate or not heartmate with Jadis. I mean, that scene wrecked me. Traumatically wrecked me. Like, I think when we hear about how Cass was tortured and how all of this happened, I think it's really easy for us to forget about how traumatic this actually would be for a person, because we read about it in our stories, and all these characters are like, oh, I'm fine, I've survived. I was beaten and abused, but I survived. I think Jadis is like the only reaction that I've seen that makes any sense of what it would look like in real life if these things happened to them. That was gut-wrenching. Reaver's reaction, gut-wrenching. I don't know how to feel about Delano. I mean, I've just tried to block that out. I mean, she's primal of life. She could bring it back. But the marriage imprint, I mean, it's faded. I can't. Was it because a part of her died and she came back? Was it because is it temporary because she's technically in the Shadowlands right now, and Nikitos and Sarah are clearly going to bring her back? But would that upset the balance? Would it upset the fates? Are the fates preventing it? But she's not passed over. What has happened to Poppy, and why did she feel like she could just charge in there and some psychopath would still love her? I think we knew. I mean, Cass called it, first of all. I mean, he watched probably through a window, Cass, them do the nasty, and he was watching. I mean, he didn't love her. He knew. It wasn't an act of love. It was an act of obsession. And I felt like in all of the other books, Cass and Poppy was always love. But Cass's love towards Poppy felt like an obsession too in this book. It felt less like let her live, let her breathe, let her become herself, and I love who she is. And it felt more like, I don't know, stifling in a way. Again, we're gonna see all the red flags. All the red flags when we look at this. The other piece of this was her meeting Sarah, which I loved it. I could feel the awkwardness and the tension because I've been in both of their point of views. Like, I've read both of their books and their stories, and having them collide was just such a fantastical scene. I really, really loved that. I'm still going to keep reading the fan theories, and I'm sure this isn't the last book that I'm going to do on this one, especially after a reread. I'll tell you what I find. But let's just say there were a lot of good moments in this book between Victor and between Sarah and between Poppy and Kieran too. But there was also a lot of despair with Jadis and Cass becoming evil, and what we could see from what we can see from like Delano passing away and Poppy learning what Colas did to her with the Duke. So much despair. But what a book. JLA. What a book. All right. I'll talk to you all next time. And please, just as a note, JLA, please make sure it's April. I think I might die if we have to wait another 2 years for an ending to this story. But I'm ready for it now. So, if you don't mind sending me your copy, I'll read it right now. I'm hoping that it's already in the works and beginning printing, and I hope they're as beautiful as covers as these. So, I will talk to you all next time. We're gonna have to look at my TBR this week. I've got a Lola Glass coming. There's a new novel that she's released. I believe it's a novella because she's been really into the novellas lately, but I love that she's back on the mate hunt trail. I loved those books, as cheesy as they sound. They just are good, cozy reads, and that's what Lola Glass brings me. So super excited to read that next, and we will talk soon. Bye everyone.